On a quiet Vesak evening, when the skies of Sri Lanka glowed softly after the rain, a small village began to awaken with light. Colorful lanterns swayed gently above the roads, candles flickered near windows, temple bells echoed peacefully through the cool night air. Children laughed as they carried paper lanterns in their tiny hands. Families decorated their homes together everywhere. The spirit of Vesak filled the village with warmth. But near the edge of a muddy roadside stood a little boy named Sahan, silent, watching. Sahan loved Vesak more than any other day of the year, not because of the lights, not because of the celebrations, but because Vesak made the whole world feel kind. Yet every year, while other homes shined brightly, his little house remained dark. Sahan lived with his grandmother in a small old home with a leaking roof and wooden walls worn down by time. His grandmother worked every day weaving baskets just to earn enough money for food. There was never enough left for decorations, or colorful lantern paper, or candles. Still, deep inside his heart, Sahan carried one simple dream: to build a Vesak lantern of his own. One evening after school, Sahan slowly walked through the village market. Every shop was filled with beautiful Vesak decorations: bright red paper, golden ribbons, shining bamboo lanterns. Children excitedly picked their favorite colors, while parents smiled beside them. Sahan stood quietly outside one shop, watching. For a moment, his eyes sparkled with hope, but when he reached into his pocket, there was nothing there, not a single coin. Slowly, he stepped away and continued walking alone through the crowded street, the sound of laughter fading behind him. That night, unable to sleep, Sahan sat outside his home watching the moon above the trees. Then suddenly, he remembered the words of an old monk at the village temple. "The brightest light," the monk once said, "comes not from wealth, but from the heart." Sahan looked around quietly. Then an idea filled his mind. The next morning, while the village prepared for Vesak celebrations, Sahan began searching everywhere he could. Near the roadside, he found broken bamboo pieces. Behind small shops, he collected old newspapers blown away by the wind. From discarded bundles, he gathered bits of thread and paper scraps. People barely noticed the little boy working silently beneath the hot sun. But Sahan continued, because hope can make even tired hands feel strong. That evening, dark clouds covered the village and gentle rain began to fall. Inside his tiny home, beneath the dim glow of an oil lamp, Sahan carefully started building his lantern. His fingers trembled as he tied the bamboo together. Again and again the frame collapsed. Again and again he rebuilt it. Hours passed. Rain tapped softly against the roof, while his grandmother watched quietly from the corner of the room. Finally, after many attempts, the lantern stood complete. It was small. The paper was uneven. The corners were bent. It looked nothing like the grand lanterns hanging across the village. But to Sahan, it was perfect because he had built it with patience and love. The following night, Vesak arrived. The village transformed into a sea of glowing lights. Massive lanterns floated above the streets. Colorful bulbs danced across rooftops. Bhakti songs drifted peacefully through the air. Families gathered together, smiling beneath the golden moon. And quietly, Sahan carried his tiny lantern outside his home. Some children nearby glanced at it and laughed softly. "It's too small," one boy whispered. "The paper is torn," another giggled. Sahan lowered his eyes. For a moment, his heart sank. Maybe his lantern truly was too simple, too broken, too ordinary. Slowly, he placed it near the doorway of his home. Then carefully, he lit the candle inside. The tiny flame flickered gently in the darkness, and suddenly, a soft golden light filled the lantern. Warm, peaceful, beautiful. The rainwater on the road reflected its glow like a shining star. People passing by slowly stopped walking. One by one, they turned toward the little lantern, not because it was the biggest, not because it was expensive, but because something about it felt real. It carried warmth, hope, kindness, heart. The same children who laughed earlier now stared silently at the glowing light. An old woman smiled gently. A tired street vendor bowed his head quietly. And a little girl whispered, "It's the most beautiful lantern here." Sahan looked at his lantern and smiled softly. Because at that moment, he finally understood something important. True light does not come from money. It does not come from size or beauty. True light comes from the heart, and sometimes the smallest light can shine brighter than them all.